When you couldn't do something bad and you gotta make it worse, what do? You go do an interview. And that's just what Amber Heard decided to do today. And I want to talk about Amber Heard and a lot of other things that go along with Amber Heard. And don't mistake this as any type of bashing necessary, any type of attacks or whatever the case may be, because they're not. They're simply based off what was provided. And now we have a female interviewer that has sat down and obviously came to the same conclusion. Guys, I want to make sure to tell everybody every week now I have a goal to reach. That goal is $400 to $500. So make sure that you go into the description box and make sure that you hit all those that are provided. $ Cash App, $STRINGERBELL80. Also, there's a GoFundMe link there if you don't have Cash App. Also, there's a PayPal link there if you don't have Cash App. I know a lot of people say, hey, I don't have Cash App. Is there any other way I can get funds to you or whatever, whatever? But that's the way you can do it. Now, let's talk about Amber Heard. Amber Heard, first, I want to start here because everybody's seen the clips that I put up today. And if you haven't seen the clips, make sure you go check them out. They're right down below. One individual clip has her being condescending and making fun of Johnny Depp. And then there's another video that has her corked as something else. But this is what I want to talk about. This is what I want to talk about. Amber Heard continued behavior that she had in court just previously, not even stake of maybe a couple days ago. So it made me think when I first saw this interview and when I saw it, and I watched it all, okay? When I first saw this interview, it had me thinking this was something she was contractually obligated to, meaning I think this interview that she did with NBC and the Today Show, I think she had that plan in the spirit of her possibly winning the case. And it didn't go that way. So still, she's contractually obligated to fulfill this interview. And I don't think it was set up the way she wanted it to. If I had to make a guess, I would even say she tried to find options to back up out of the interview because of the obvious embarrassment. But she rolled along with it as an actress would do. And Amber Heard is an actress. There was many different questions asked within the interview. One of them was taken out of context a little bit, but still I saw where the person was going. Where they were talking about how Amber Heard actually, for the better part of everything, played an actress role on the trial, on the stand. And the litany of different arguments that were brought up and the litany of different clips that were brought up and brought from social media, brought from her team, and her saying there was extended cuts and that edits were taken out or whatever. I don't believe any of it. I believe everything sits as is. And this is what I mean by that. There are a lot of women, and I'm not talking about you good women. I want to underline that. I'm not talking about you good women, you stand up women, you women that go out every day, you women that have men's back, you women that have your own podcast that render and speak about women just like this on a day to day basis. Yes, there are many of them. But just like Amber Heard, there's another set of women out here. There's a set of women out here that like to do what I call, and I've been calling it for a long time, this female victim con or card. Okay. Now, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, at one time people would have turned around and said, oh, you're using the black card, or you're using the Latin card, or you're using the immigrant card. Well, she's using the female con card. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. I see a lot of women like Amber Heard on a day to day basis. I ran into them. Hey, Annette, I ran into them. I've talked to them, etc., 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 right? And within these women, sometimes that you talk to, you will always hear something that puts them in a position where they are a victim. If they are found wrong and they are found lying, just like Amber Heard was in this video, and the female reporter called out, she said, listen, I'm pretty much condescending as far as embracing information as I see it. And when she was asked the question, well, people say that you were doing an acting role and that you lied on the stand. Amber Heard's response was, well, even though, to wrap it all up and paraphrase a little bit, I know I've been proven wrong. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to convince you that I'm not wrong based off my gender. Now, a lot of these women that fall into this category, they always have one thing, and this is what I hate about it. They always have this card that says, well, I'm strong. No, you're not strong. Strong women don't get on a trial and on a stand under oath and tell lies. Strong women don't continue to lie after the trial is over and they've been found guilty. Strong women don't sit and embarrass themselves and continuously feed to the public what a freaking judge has said now is false. Who the heck do you think you're talking to, lady? So all of us are idiots all across the country, and we got this whole trial messed up. The trial was streamed live. All of us that watch, listen to me, all of y'all that watched the trial, y'all all wrong. Y'all got it wrong. Now, she did another comparison within the interview, and she talked about the UK trial where Johnny Depp had actually sued a UK tabloid, which is kind of like the premise and the genesis of this whole story as it tags along, and was an emphasis of probably him suing her in court for these damages that he received, which he ain't gonna receive. You heard me again. The damages he received, but he ain't gonna receive. What up, Cardi B? You had a case like that too, didn't you? Anyway, long story short, just joking. Long story short, it's this testament to something else. And I think what ladies and men need to do with your daughters is start putting the microscope on this behavior. We have sat back now and we are now coddling a certain brand of women, okay? That certain women, many of women, if I'm not saying a greater majority of women, don't back, don't support. And I've seen it, and I've seen it spoken many of times by now white female vloggers, black female vloggers, Latin female vloggers, and there's more piling in because these women, unlike Amber Heard, are not opportunists. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning if they sit by that boss mantra, you understand what I'm saying? That so many women want to call themselves with your unsuccessful businesses that I'll get to that in a minute. The point I'm getting at is here. Amber Heard tried to spoon feed us the story and reiterate it, rephrase it, reposition it to fit her own narrative of so-called innocence. Women, you admitted in a courtroom that you picked fights with Johnny Depp. You admitted in a courtroom that you harassed him, both physically and verbally, with your octave and your tone, which I gotta say is quite freaking annoying. Have you ever listened to her talk? It's like really annoying. It's like listen to like a 14 or 15-year-old girl talk. Well, we went over there and Johnny took my ice cream and it was, that's what she sounds like. Okay. Could you imagine listening to that every freaking day? Like seriously. Now don't get me wrong, she's attractive, but mentally this chick is gone. And she's been gone for a while. All right. Now, I'm going to go as far as to say from the time that she first entered the stage of acting, when you mix in obnoxiousness, when you mix in narcissism, when you mix in right to do, which I want to put so much emphasis on because of this reason, and this is how I correlate the two. You see, there are many women out here that have the attitude, the position of Amber Heard nowadays. In fact, I'll even go further than that. You could go night after night, and if you watch any vlogger, whether they're male or whether they're female, and the reason I say vlogger, because we outrightly, let's just keep it real, we consume more here on this space than we do in the actual media, unless it's really something that we can't grasp our hands in, right? Amber Heard, one of the problems with Amber Heard that's almost unilateral with a lot of these girls out here, including some of the girls that may hang around your daughters, including some of the girls that may be family members of you that have picked up these attributes and behavior, is no matter what happens, you must play the victim because you're so weak, personality-wise, not gender. You're so weak that nothing else will stand and defend you. You understand what I mean? And a lot of guys have got to start taking this approach when you're talking about this stuff. Now, I know I'm going to upset a lot of women when they hear this on the playback or whatever. The point is, a lot of you ladies are now in two, if not three different tiers. There's the women that are traditional women that, in my opinion, deserve the world. Deserve the world. Meaning all those Benzes, all those watches, all those purses, all the Birkin bags, all the red bottoms, all that stuff or whatever. Get those for that girl. She deserves it. This is the woman that comes home and makes sure her kids are clean, make sure that she puts some type of emphasis into her child's rearing. These are the women that make sure they're compassionate towards their husband, they're encouraging to their husband or boyfriend or whatever the case may be. And likewise, I would hope the same that that man would do the same for that woman. Then there's a second tier of women. And these are the women that usually aren't as attractive, usually unmarried, not in a relationship, and they have substituted all those things. And since they don't have some of those things, including happiness within themselves, what they do is they tend to put this sludge on the rest of society because of their woes. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if you don't understand the comparison, I'll put it to you like this. It's almost comparative to me going out in the street and I'm saying, yo, you know what? I stopped my toe today. I need everybody to take a moment and have a prayer. Huh? Does that make sense? It doesn't, right? We are now in becoming enablers in society worldwide, because the internet has no boundaries really. Not unless that particular country cuts off the internet for like a year, 8 months, 6 months, like a China, Egypt, a couple other countries. All these people, if they have a device in their hand, they are accessible to this behavior. And some people will emulate this behavior depending on where they're at in the world, including our nations and internationally our women. This is a type of attitude, this victimhood attitude. I don't know where it comes from, but I also want to say to a lot of men in power, you are enabling this behavior as well. Because every time that you bend down, put down the Vaseline and wait for that strap to hit you, every time that you do that, for these type of girls that are in tier two, what happens is another one feels like they have a notch in their mucus belt. You understand? And it gives a heave ho for every other girl that sees the reactions that that girl got. Now to be like, you know what? That's how we need to act. This is what we need to do. No matter what happens, I'm right. I can walk out the bank with the gun in my hand, the police officer sitting right there on the corner, and I can say to him, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. You got the story mixed up. This is the reason I did it. I was only retaliating because the bank said they wouldn't cash my check. So I stole it. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's somebody's fault. But I think it's more has to do with my parents and my ex-boyfriend. There's no accountability. And the same way we talk about Jada Pinkett Smith and the smack that happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock, no accountability. Once again, a woman that took the notion, Jada Pinkett Smith, to play the sideline and be quiet when you should have been more vocal than anywhere because your man was going up there doing that for you. I have the reason to believe that Johnny Depp took very well care of Amber Heard. He owns multiple homes, including one in Virginia where they had the trial. He owns multiple facilities. He owns multiple restaurants at one time. And one time he owned one high-end bar, well, was co-owner actually, in Hollywood. West Hollywood to be exact. I forgot what the name of that place is, but everybody went there. And I don't know all what happened there, but everybody went there. You can look it up. Make sure y'all hit those like buttons. Make sure y'all hit the GoFundMe, the Cash App. Make sure y'all hit the PayPal if you don't have Cash App. Cash App $STRINGERBELL 80. We have a goal every week of $400 to $500. So make sure you contribute to that. We've already had 2 contributors and we want more. I'm not going to stop on this. I got to keep going because, see, the reason this makes me angry is because I'm single. You see, I don't have a wife. I don't have a girlfriend or whatever. I'm probably somewhere in the financial sense that I can maybe take you out for once a week. You know what I mean? I'm not in the great places of financial stability when it comes to that. For myself, even so, So I speak on this or somebody that's going to end up getting back in the dating field, someone that's going to end up having to date someone younger than me to have a child because I don't have kids either. You understand? So my dating range, even at my age, is between like 28 to let's say like 37. That's pretty much, you know what I mean? I could possibly do a 38, 39, depending on whatever ever happens. You know what I mean? But I'm saying that based on what I want. I'm not saying that based on, you know what I mean? I have a preference or whatever. I'm talking about what I want out of it. But what I have to realize is in doing that, a lot of these women have been influenced by Amber Heard. Do you know that there are women still online? And like I saw it by some of the thumbs down on the clips I put up. There are actually some women out there that actually still believe Amber Heard. And you know what those women represent? I'll give you a second. Chicks in tier two. I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong. Clap your heels 3 times and take it back to Narnia. This chick is a farce. And anybody that supports her at this point, I say the same thing about you. You're obnoxious, you're a narcissist, you're a nasty person probably within, and you find men disposable. You find men disposable. You understand what I'm saying? For me, I'm not disposable. No, 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 no. I've had girlfriends come back to me or whatever, and I swear to God to you, I've had girlfriends come back to me and say, I shouldn't have broke up with you. I've had literally a woman or two say that to me. So I know I'm good money. Anytime I was in a relationship, I was always good. You understand? That's a fact. Even my last relationship I broke up with wasn't my fault. I really believe it was because of influence of someone else. You understand? But that's neither here nor there. In my in my approach now with women, I have to be totally different because of the influence of women like Amber Heard. And many men across this country are now taking the defense and saying, hey, I could lose this, I could lose that, because nobody puts in contention the fact that Johnny Depp could have lost this case. Had her lies gone through and people had not seen through her lies, had there not been so many video clips circulating or whatever to aid and help Johnny Depp, well, you see, this trial could have went a whole different way. And that interview that I'm pretty sure contractually she had with NBC already set up prior to the trial even being over, well, it would have been a totally different narrative. You would have had the women sitting back like this with this nasty, belligerent, cheesy grin. Amber, what I told you. This is what a lot of women still want to see. Now, Amber, believe it or not, is going back to court, and she's going to try to have an appeal. She's going to try to do an appeal. Okay. Good luck. And she's basing this appeal on, I know, a couple of things. One, I keep trying to tell you guys, a lot of times these women that get online, they talk about, if you didn't know, if you never heard me say it before, a lot of times when these women get online and they talk about, oh, I'm a boss chick, I got my own business, da da da. Well, you have to break things down, right? I always like unpacking things. You have to gradually unpack things a lot of times to figure out what's what. Well, I did some investigations and I found out something that was really unique. A lot of girls that claim they have these businesses, they're boss chicks or whatever, whatever. One, majority of them, if not a high amount of them, lie about how much they actually make, both quarterly, yearly, or whatever else, to the public. Now, when it comes down to taxes and W-4s and everything is like that, well, that's something different. I'll give you another example. The average woman in the United States, the majority, I think it's something like 70%, you can look this up if you want to, makes a total average of about $35,000 a year. You ain't quite setting the world on fire with $35,000 a year. You might be lucky if you get into a used Honda Accord at $35,000 a year. It's the truth. If you don't believe me, go look it up for yourself. I'll even leave some of the links in it for this information so you can see it for yourself, okay? CDC and the federal, they don't lie about things like that. These numbers are equating to what's going on in the fiscal year, what's going on financially in the system, and especially within this whole tirade we're having right now with prices at the grocery store and things like that, or whatever the case may be. Now, let's take that in contention with this term boss chick. Because that's what Amber thought she was. Amber thought she was a boss chick. She walked in with her so-called boss lawyers, replaced those boss lawyers, got some more boss lawyers, and I'm pretty sure the bulk of her money went to fighting this trial because, let's just keep it a buck, Johnny Depp money is long. Can I get one for Captain Jack motherfucking Sparrow? I heard it, mates. I heard. And I'm going to say something about Johnny Depp at the end of this too, so don't you worry. It seems to me that this attitude that Amber Heard had is now being used with our girls. Because, see, let me try to tell you something. A lot of people leave this out of the equation when we're talking about these women and things that they do and things like that. First, you have to go to the antithesis of everything. It's where these women are getting influenced by. And see, just like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard are in Hollywood, These girls from the tender ages of, say, 5, 6, 7 years old, they're influenced by everything they see on TV prior to now. And now, in this growing age, depending on what generation you belong to, halfway, shared, or fully, now these girls are being influenced by everything they see on the internet. You see? And so, as these women are being influenced by everything in the internet, what happens is they take points and cues and small little dots here and there, and they start adding them up in their mentality of the time, which is most of the time an immature mentality until they reach about 13 or 14 years old. And even then, the decisive mechanisms that they have tighten up. But you still got a long while before you have a grown woman. Okay. These women now, with that influence on TV, with that influence on YouTube, with the influence on classmates, with the influence on people they deal with socially, or maybe that live around them or whatever, they all compile into these certain types of thoughts, right? And we all know we're never going to get able to get YouTube to stop streaming. We're never going to get NBC or ABC. They've been around since the Red and Blue Network at the beginning of the World War One as radio stations. We're never going to get them to ever stop broadcasting what they're broadcasting. Okay, you would have to have a missile and knock down every satellite they had to be able to happen. Okay, and that's not gonna happen. And don't get no ideas about that either, because I ain't promoting no shit like that. Well, I'm just telling you, that's what you would need. Okay, so the streaming, the broadcasting, it's not going to stop. So what could you do to have your kids not see this stuff? How would you do to have your kids not influenced by this stuff? Absolutely nothing, except talk to them. That's it. That's it. If you want a better date, if you want a better woman, if you want a better female in general, just for society, then you cannot expose them to the ranks of Amber Heard. You cannot expose them to the ranks of any of these other, this toxic, nasty, belligerent, narcissistic women that are out here that are preaching to women, no matter what you do, it's not wrong. No matter what you do. Oh, these are the spirits of Eve and Lilith in full gear. If we were, see, a lot of people talk about we in the end days and all that stuff or whatever, whatever, and believe how you must, okay? But one thing I will say in condensing to all that is this. If it may not have been matriculate, if it may not matriculate the way it is according to Nostradamus, according to Edgar Cayce and many others, if it's not matriculating the way it was written, is it safe to say that it's matriculating in so a forth that it's almost a revigoration of the world as we once knew it? Almost like the Bronze Age stepping into the next age, almost like the Renaissance period stepping to the next, almost like, it's almost like time is naturally placed basically based on the fact that we're now in a new millennia. I think that things that we would have had acceptable and not non-acceptable, not even 10 years ago, are now acceptable. You have to have accountability. And for this woman to get up there and have this full interview, and I know it was probably contractual, I guarantee you it was probably contractual, for this woman to sit up there and blatantly lie again about lying. She lied about lying. Who does that? I'm going to say this to you one more time. When asked, was she on an acting role? She lied again about lying. And the reporter responds to her and she says, well, miss, I have the transcripts right here. And you didn't say that. You said very adamantly, hey, yes, I've taunted Johnny. Yes, I put my hands on Johnny. Well, if it's a duck and it sounds like a duck and it quack like a duck, then you a duck. Plain simply put like that. Now, this influence of women like Amber Heard and many other women that are just like her, most notably, not even in the Hollywood ranks, but more so in the YouTube ecosphere and the social media ecosphere. Ladies, you got to start realizing that all these things that you're embracing, all these tenets that you're embracing of this toxic femininity versus, the Women's Suffrage Act, where this all stems from in the 1880s with Amelia Earhart and Susan Hardy. That's what we're talking about, okay? And the person that's left out of that women's suffrage movement and act is notoriety someone that I find, one of the things is I find is not only that, but one of the things that I find, and his name's going to come to my attention in a minute, and I'll get back into that because I just had a brain fart. Once you have women that are fully invested in toxic femininity the way they are currently, and women that are still backing Amber Heard both vocally and podcasts. I watched the whole podcast. I watched 45 minutes of it. I was like, I couldn't take any more of this female sitting there trying to convince her crowd. And she had over 200,000 followers. It was mind blowing. And people were donating to her. Okay. People were donating this to her after all of them watched the judge very, very, very precisionally tell her, lady, not only do we think you're lying, we could throw you in jail right now. She should honestly and truthfully be under a plagiary trial, not retrying the case. She should be brought up and charged. You lied on the stand. And the influence that these women have on your daughters, on your nieces, or whatever the case may be, I'm telling you, it's dangerous. Because in less than 10 years, let's say these girls right now are 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, right? The youngest of them, which will be 12 years old, in 10 years will be 22. The oldest of them, which is 15, in 10 years will be 25. Okay, that's a very short time. So within this 10 years, depending on what their background is, depending on what their depending on what their aspirations are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, or what endeavors they're trying to get into, meaning whether they choose to go to college, meaning whether they choose to, you know what I mean, whatever, be a housewoman, whatever the case may be. These women at that point, all those tenants that they grabbed right now in the years, I'm going to say 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 22, especially 19 and 20. Excuse me, 19, 20, and 21 because of the pandemic. Well, we had a lot of women that were isolated. You understand what I'm saying? So they had time to, and men too, but we're talking about Amber Heard right now. They had time to sit back in the back of their mind and think of any dark lust or whatever projected online. You understand what I'm saying? This is the attempt that Amber Heard tried to do today. See, she tried to convince y'all that she was a victim. And there's a lot of women out here that are trying to convince the world, the crowd, that they're all victims. And I'm saying a lot of you are perpetuated liars. A lot of you are passive aggressive. A lot of you are just plain simply just pieces of shit. Some of these women you would not even want, like, they can look beautiful as hell, do the witchery with the makeup and everything else. But at the end of the day, you'll look at some of these women, you'll be like, well, yeah, you look all right on the exterior, but inside, you're fucking disgusting. You're a disgusting person. You're not just a disgusting person, but at the end of this, nobody loses but me and nobody gains but you. And that's how a lot of men are looking at this. Now, men, I want y'all to sit back today and I want y'all to listen to the responses, go to the chat rooms, go to the comment section. I want y'all to look and see the responses from women that still side with Amber Heard and ask yourself why. Even better yet, ask yourself, regardless of the woman that's clicking the comment, if you're looking at her after making the comment and you're saying to yourself, oh, she's attractive, would that supersede your better judgment and go along with this woman at that point? And if your answer is yes, then everything that you got coming to you, you deserve. You're going to be on the front cover of Time magazine like this. John, I can't pay this, John. 15 million in the cuffs. Let me talk to the judge. John, let me talk to you one more time. That's where you're going to be. That's where you're going to be. And the reason you're going to be there is because you took looks over substance. So let me tell you, young boys, men in the middle, and even older men, this right here. You got to change your dating structure. Now, let me tell you what I mean by that. And then I'm going to go into something else about Amber Heard. But I got to say this for the young men because a lot of y'all don't know. You understand? And I'm trying to save you from going through it. I'm trying to save you from going through it with a side baby. Shout out to Corey Holcomb for saying that. I want to shout y'all out. I want to tell y'all the other thing, which is this. Make sure not only the side baby thing, but make sure this. Avoid all side babies and avoid chicks with kids that don't have nothing going on. I'm not telling you avoid chicks with kids. I said avoid chicks with kids that don't have nothing going on. Avoid chicks with kids that have kids by a violent man, a man that's currently in jail, a man that's currently in a gang or whatever. You want to absolutely avoid women like that, even if they have kids or don't have kids. If you don't believe me, just look at the example with Trouble down in Atlanta. Today's are not the times when you can just go da, 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 and go hung up, lay up, or whatever with any old type of chick. Because in reality, a lot of these chicks are plotting on you from the beginning. They got Amber Heard. You understand what I mean? And if you don't understand what I mean, let me put it better in position for you. Just like you saw Johnny Depp dragged through court, a lot of y'all don't even know what Johnny Depp was dragged through court for, or why Johnny Depp rather was dragging her through court. Now, the trial originally happened in the UK. It was a tabloid that actually made a statement based on what Amber Heard had said and said that Johnny Depp was a woman beater, which is totally untrue, unfounded. In fact, now after the trial is over, he sued them. There was a, and I'm not going to mention that here because I never know. I got fans in the UK too, so I don't want, you know what I mean? He sued them, and then he followed up by suing Amber Heard, which you just recently saw. Okay, now this is a defamation lawsuit, meaning that you gave false information or tried to portray me as something that I wasn't. All right. The money that he won off of that is lucky for him. But in most cases, with the average Joe, you ain't winning that type of money. Y'all please hit the like buttons and make sure y'all hit the Cash App and the PayPal and the GoFundMe. I'm here to bake bread. Please don't get that wrong or get confused. All right. Make sure y'all donate that up. We got a weekly goal of $400 to $500 every week, and we're going to meet that goal. If you can't do that, make sure you hit the like button. If you go around messing with women like this and you're not able to read them, men, what's going to happen is you're going to get entangled up in an Amber Heard situation where you think the woman loves you. You think the woman cares about you. You think the woman is there for affinity. And then when you turn around and you're 35, 40, 45 years old or whatever, she's dishing around. She's got her eyes wide open and she's looking for options. She's looking for options. I had it happen to me. You know what I mean? I had it happen to me. I lost everything, condo, all that stuff. I had it happen to me. So take me as an example of anything that messing with the wrong woman can lead you to a life of despair. Now, Johnny Depp lost movie roles. If you need an example, one of the most famed characters and one of my favorite movies, except for part 4, I ain't like that shit, Pirates of the Caribbean. And I watched this woman today not only try to attack him again, but attacked his filmography. She said, and I quote, "You want to believe the words of a man that convinced the world that he had scissors on his finger." And I asked myself, how does that have to do with anything about you lying? How? How? Sway, how? This woman is not only delusional, but I think this woman is also mentally unstable, which is another thing that you boys need to watch for. There are a lot of women out here like Amber Heard. If it's unbeknownst to you, Amber Heard actually had a psychiatrist take the stand, a female psychiatrist take the stand, but virtually. Okay, she wasn't in court, but virtually, just like Jason Momoa, where he testified, and I believe Elon, when they all testified, it was virtually. Okay, but they were still under oath. And the psychiatrist, she testified, and she said, she's got a multi-personality disorder. And there's a lot of women out here that have those issues. I I dated a girl one time. I'm not gonna say a name here, but I dated a girl very sparsely, very quickly. I dated a girl. She said she sure did and had nothing to do with her lying. I believe she is bipolar and much, much more. Well, they say she's got multiple personality disorder. That's what they say. But that's a good point that you point out too. The sad thing about it is there's a lot of women out here that have mental disorders. Now I was dating a girl very quickly, was unbeknownst to me until one day I just happened to look at her dresser. And when I looked at her dresser, I saw like one, two, three medications. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck? And I'm thinking, first, you know how we are, fellas. First thing I'm thinking, oh shit, am I all right after this motherfucker right there? Should have marked me. Somebody give me a doctor. Doc, why I feel like this when I go to the bathroom? What's happening? My new nickname, Drip. I'm playing. Point I'm getting at is, I looked at this woman's dresser and I saw these two or three medications up there. So I being who I am, I asked her. I said, "What's this for?" She said, "Oh, well, sometimes you know, da 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 da, and blah 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 blah." Like I said, I ain't here to embarrass somebody. And I was like, "Oh, word, okay." So what I found was I was dumb at the time. I had to be like 29, 30 or whatever, not too long ago. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching the behaviors that she's taking the medication manifest themselves in front of me. She got angry very quickly. She always overtalked me. She almost came to a point where she was almost trying to control me. Be very wary of women that try to control you. You understand what I'm saying? There's different mechanisms they'll use to try to control you too. And you have to be alert of it and be alert quick. You understand what I'm saying? And so this chick, she was literally trying to control me by her vocal. Like she would say things to me in a certain tone or whatever, whatever. And I just be like, I don't fight with females. I think that's what made my ex-girlfriend mad with me because I will not fight with you. Like, I just don't do that shit. I'm not a punk. I will check you if you do something too extreme. But for the ever latter day of things or whatever, just to be in peace, I'm not gonna argue with you. You understand what I'm saying? It's worthless. It's boring. It's not getting anything anywhere. You understand? So I guess my position has always been to walk off or walk away from things. And what I kind of see is the same thing goes for Johnny Depp and many other men. They just don't want the headache of possibly getting arrested. They don't want the headache of possibly having her brothers or cousins come over, uncle, whatever, and then that comes into a whole different thing. So a lot of guys, they don't just have to go off and, you da 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 da. Had a couple of times I'd have cussed the motherfucking chick out. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I mean? And faithfully, and meant every word of it and don't apologize for one bit of it. But I've never, ever, ever been put in too many positions where I had to contemplate whether or not I knocked this chick the hell out or whatever, whatever. Now, one of these girls, young men, puts their hands on you. That's a different thing. You understand what I'm saying? Legally, at that point, you have a right to defend yourself. Now, I'm not saying beat up on the girl or beat her into unconsciousness or nothing like that. But if a chick is coming at you with a firearm, a chick is coming at you with a knife, a chick is coming at you with some pepper spray real hard, it won't stop. A chick is coming at you with whatever, whatever. Because I've seen it all. I live in New York City, tri-state, okay? There was a woman just yesterday that was arrested. Well, they're looking for her. And many of y'all people might know that it was down in Soho or WeHo, one of the spots down there in Midtown, Lower Manhattan. And this woman, they caught her on camera, pepper spraying these young girls that were down there looking at a flower installation or something like that or whatever, whatever. Girls, next time, take your ass in Jersey or somewhere, all right? Or go to Botanical Gardens over in the Bronx, okay? You see all the flowers you want to. A point I'm getting at is these girls got pepper sprayed by this woman who irately just got up and felt that and this was a well-dressed woman. This wasn't any homeless lady or nothing like that. The lady looked like she had Dolce & Gabbana on or whatever. It's condensing. And the reason I'm bringing it up because it was obvious was the things the woman was saying in the video. From the racial things she was saying, because these were 3 Asian girls. From the racist things that she was saying, and I want to reiterate, this woman was either white or a very, very light-skinned Latina. And she was just pepper spraying these girls over and over and over and over again. And I said, imagine this woman in a relationship with a man and what she would do. If she'll do that, and she was doing it in front of everybody. So once again, we sit back and we got to ask the question, this preferential treatment of a certain segment of women in the population and coddling to their lies, coddling to their deceit, coddling to their ill ways, coddling to their wants, when the wants are extravagant and just really just meant for them. Let me tell you something, girls. And this will happen. I'm already working my way back into being in the business. Part of this right here when I'm online every day is part of that. And let me tell you, based on what I went through in the past, if I get 6 or 7 in my hand, 6 or 7 figures, that is. There is no possible fucking way that I'm dedicating my 6 or 7 figures to taking care of some unworthy broad just to fulfill her fucking wants and needs or whatever the case may be. And I say this in the light of someone like Johnny Depp, who made substantially more money than Amber Heard. And he made it through his movies. Which brings me to this. DC and Warner Brothers, just as an hour ago, and another reason why I went live with this. Y'all make sure y'all hit those like buttons. Make sure y'all go into the description box and hit up Cash App, $STRINGERBELL80. Also, there's a PayPal link in the description box. Also, there's a GoFundMe. So if you don't have Cash App, you can use each one of those latter two without sign up, all right? We got a goal here every week of $400 to $500, and we're going to get there. Yes, I am about my money, all right? Now, The funny thing about it is today, now I want to tell you where this comes from. This comes from screenings. Okay, this is no Chuck. This is not a rumor. I got this from a very reliable source. This screening process that they have, basically, they show the movie before it comes out. Now, Aquaman 2 doesn't come out to March 23rd, 2020, excuse me, March 17th, 2023. So what they do is they do these test screenings of what they have edited so far, what they might need to re-edit, positioning, production, where they may have to possibly do reshoots, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Well, in doing this, they show them to small crowds. Sometimes the crowds are randomly picked. Sometimes the crowds involve people that work at the studio. Sometimes the crowds include just people that are in the industry and do kind of like, if you want to say, coverage of different situations with movies coming out and things like that, the trailer response, things like that, right? And so, based on the trial, and I'm pretty sure based on this interview that she just had, they decided to completely remove her character, which is Mira, and replace her with someone else. Now, you'll have to believe me. I'm telling you the truth. And this will come out. It'll be bolder probably in the next couple of hours or so, or whatever. I have a tendency to get things when they first pop for some reason or another. I think it comes from my past in the music industry. But she's been removed from Aquaman 2 and its release next year. So that means right now we're just in June. Oh, yeah, we can film all her shoots probably within a month. The average movie doesn't take nothing but like it tops probably like 90 days, under 90 days to film, unless you're filming something like Lord of the Rings or something like that. You know what I mean? The average or Star Wars or some big production. I mean, literally, it takes usually most movies about 3 to 4 months. They try to get it in that time window so they save money. So production days go for probably like, I don't know, anywhere from 9 to 10 hours a day, sometimes 12 hours and more, depending on how bad they want the shot or, like I said, the intricacy of the shot. Now, she's been removed from the movie. Her character Mira is going to remain, but she's going to be replaced. I don't know who they're going to replace her with, but now, sweetheart, your lying and your whole "me too" bullshit has now rendered you unemployed and unemployable. See, what's going to happen? I'm going to tell you how it's going to happen. Based on the way that she had this play out in the public, what's going to happen now is all these movie houses, all these different agents or whatever. It's going to be very hard to find a PR person or someone that is a reputable source to put Amber Heard in anything for a long time. I'm talking she's going to probably have a good year and a half, 2 years to sit it down. The same thing I said about Will Smith. Will Smith is going to probably have to sit down, even though they said this amount of time to the public. They're going to make Will Smith sit down for about 2 or 3 years. After that, they're going to have a freaking campaign. Let's bring Will Smith back to the Oscars. Yeah. And then they're going to say, you know what? The Academy has decided today that we're not going to ban Will Smith anymore. We're going to bring him on back. And this is what Amber Heard attempted to do outside, I think, once again, being already contractually obligated prior to the trial being over. That's what I think. And I think she was feeling that she was going to win the case and she lost the case and she was still contractually obligated to do that interview. That's how NBC does things. NBC Studios, I used to walk past them every morning on past Fifth Avenue. Okay. I know where NBC is. I've been over at Fox, which is right across the street, and CBS is right around the corner. So they film this stuff here locally. There's like Jerry Springer and Maury Povich or whatever. They filmed that right here in the city. All right. So this is all local stuff for us. Now I'm telling you, when she went on that interview today, and NBC is now owned by Cox. So they're not even independent anymore. It's once they originally started from the Red and Blue Network, which if many of y'all don't know what the Red and Blue Network is, I learned this in college, where the American Broadcast System and Central Broadcast System, I believe it. No, NBC and ABC were the first two, and the CBS came later. Those two were known as the Red and the Blue Network. They were radio channels. And basically, they just depicted the war and everything that was going on in the war, particularly World War One. And then later, they innovated into television later on with the invention of television and tubes being in the household or whatever the case may be, from the silent motion pictures that you priorly see. But NBC and ABC started out as a Red and Blue Network. They were radio stations. For me to find now, and I think it was prior to the pandemic that what's the name owned NBC now. I'm pretty sure more than anything they want to keep everything on the up and up. So that's why I keep leaning towards the fact that I think this was contractual prior, as her her predictions were she was going to win the case, which she didn't. So once again, how do I feel just wrapping and summing all this up? I feel like this, ladies. I feel like one, if you support Amber Heard or you support any of the things that Amber Heard had to say, not only in trial, but during this interview, men, if that's your wife, men, if that's your girlfriend, men, if that's a significant homegirl of yours, get her ass the fuck away from you right now. Okay? It's not going to end well. Okay? It's not going to end well at all. Get her away from you right now. I'm going to say it to you one more time. Get her away from you right now. Okay? Pues la gente latino, tú sabes, muévete, tú sabes, esta mujer era loca en la mente, tú sabes, ¿no? Es suavecita, tú sabes, claro. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is, if you come in the existence, in the circumference of women like this, get away from them. When I went out for my birthday, and I went out like once or twice since then or whatever, probably like a week after that, I went out again or whatever. One thing I noticed was, there was a whole bunch of women because I hadn't been in the scene for a while. So it was a whole bunch of women. I'm just peeping how women are, you know. It used to be a time you could walk up and be, hey, what's your name? What's going on? Da, 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 da. Now you got to decipher whether or not this chick is bisexual, a lesbian, crazy, currently on medication, a mother of wayward kids, if she got situations at her home, does she live in a dangerous neighborhood, does she drive, does she have a bank account, does she live by herself with a mama or with a boyfriend and out here fronting, does she have a boyfriend and she's just out here because she's upset at him? There's probably like 20 different questions I have to ask myself as a guy before I even approach a chick. And a lot of guys will say, oh, well, you should just be brave and just go up to any chick. Okay, you go ahead and do that. But let me tell you what happened to me, and I'm going to tell you what I mean. Good thing I used my spidey senses. I was getting to walk up to this girl and just be like, hey, and I really wasn't going to ask her, I'm not buying no drinks for you right now. Drinks is $15 at most bars. Fuck you. You know what I mean? Sorry, ladies. It ain't happening. We can get a bottle of shit. Great, but I ain't money about it. Shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm very good at money. I'm a Taurus. We're very penny pitchers. You know what I mean? Like, I'm real good with money. I don't have to spend money. I know how to save money, which I'm doing now. And like I said, once again, make sure y'all hit that like button. And even more importantly, make sure you go into the description box and donate to either Cash App, $STRINGERBELL80 on Cash App, PayPal, or make sure that you hit the GoFundMe if you don't have Cash App, because a lot of people said they don't have Cash App and they can't sign up for it. They don't want to sign up for it. So now you have two options where you don't have to. So make sure you hit those up before this broadcast is over. And let me know and type it in what's in the description box, in the chat room if you have. I can't do that for a woman right now. And I don't want to do that for a woman right now. What I want to do is save my paper, make me happy. You understand? I spent 3 relationships trying to make a woman happy. I provided 2 ties for a woman to have somewhere to live at. You understand what I'm saying? I provided the time before that, I gave a woman a baby who unreluctantly my child died. I've given my attention to women. I've always been in relationships, and yeah, I talked to a chick here, talked to a chick there, whatever the case may be. But that was in the past. And that's why I highlighted that. See, now you could be meeting chameleons. You could be meeting actresses. You could be meeting women that are literally dangerous and they're setup artists. I remember not too long ago when I went out, and I'm not going to mention the person's name because I think some of her people might be watching, but they'll know who I'm talking about. I watched a woman that I just basically said, hey, she's kind of cute. And I didn't even mention it to her. I mentioned it to somebody else. And I don't think they're a tattletale, nothing like that. So don't get me confused. But I watched subsequently after that how the woman acted after I just said, hey, she's kind of cute. And so it started being all this flamboyant stuff, walking around whispering about me. And the whole premise of it was, oh, he's a little older than me. Chick, I ain't that much older than you. And you look like you about 30 something. You understand what I'm saying? You look like you about 30 something. I come to find out she was actually like 23, whatever. So what? I dated girls 23, 25, 26, whatever. You legal. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm not doing 18, 19, 20. But you know what I mean? It was crazy because I saw this person and I listened to them. That's the most important thing. I listened to them talk about me like almost like I was a dog, but really what it was to tour any other chick to try to talk to me. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning I don't want them. I can't have him, but at the same time, ain't nobody else gonna have him either because he tried to talk to me. Now I know this whole game right here because I got sisters. You understand what I'm saying? I know many of the things that women do before they even do it. I know how to approach women, I know how to speak to women, and generally speaking, I'm always respectful when I talk to women in general. You understand what I'm saying? I have a lot of girl cousins. You know what I mean? We got a big family on my mom's side, and most of them are girls' cousins. On my dad's side, it's clear opposite. It's a whole bunch of guys. You understand what I'm saying? But on my mom's side, it's a whole bunch of girl cousins. You know what I mean? And so, and I love them. I love every last one of them. Gabby, Shayla, I love all of these. But this is the problem. I know when a woman is a setup artist, and a lot of these women will do things with the intention of screwing you over, with the intention of you screwing them or thinking you're going to screw them over in the end. You understand what I mean? And the sad thing about it is when this happens, you're totally shocked as a guy because you didn't see it coming. What happened to me with my ex, I never saw it coming. I would have never thought it in a million years that my ex would be cheating with her ex. You understand what I'm saying? I would never thought in a million years that she would pick him on hindsight over me. And it had a whole bunch of things going through my mind, like, oh my God, da da da. But the thing was, when I questioned her about it, she lied, she manipulated, she tried to circumnavigate the conversation and make it seem like it was my fault or whatever the case else may be. And I'm telling you, man, as men, you cannot allow this to happen. See, once your reputation is sullied in the dating department, and depending on how big your town is, if it's somewhere like New York, you ain't really got to worry about it. Somewhere like Miami, you ain't really got to worry about it. Somewhere like LA, you ain't really got to worry about it. And I'm saying this as someone that has lived and frequent all three of those that I just mentioned. If you live in a major city, you really don't have to worry about it. It's you that live in these small towns and small enclaves. You got to worry about that. Because I've lived in a small town before too, right here in Connecticut for a very long time at one time. And I can tell you the chatter and the news that goes on between will deter other women from trying to date you. So that's what I mean by your reputation can get sullied. Amber Heard decided that she wanted to sully Johnny Depp's reputation. That's why that UK tabloid that he also sued had to say what they had to say. That was based on Amber Heard and her whole Me Too movement support, okay? With her and KRS-One. I mean, I'm sorry, what's her name, Tamara or something? I'm sorry. And woman, y'all can't tell me. You ever seen a woman that bleed Me Too? I got a video of her on my channel. Y'all go check her out. Y'all tell me if she'll look like KRS-One. She looked just like KRS-One. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Lady, you like even with the makeup, if you still look fuck it, you ugly. Like if you still look I'm sorry, guys, but if you still look ugly with the makeup, something's wrong. And I'm not talking about ugly like, no, you're not my candor, you're not my favorite. I mean, no, you're ugly. Like, you know what I mean? You're unattractive. That's bad genomes, bad genes. Oh, did I say something against the body positivity movement? Fuck that. If you're ugly, you're ugly, okay? Amber Heard's a shitty, ugly person inside, okay? This woman is ugly in person, okay? What's the difference? They're both supporters of each other. The point is, this whole Me Too movement has been embraced by some of the wrong women. Okay, women that have not been attacked to the degree that real women and real situations that have happened with these women, where they've been sexually assaulted, where they've been physically abused. I've seen women that have had their legs broken. I've heard about women that have reconstructive surgery. I saw a woman. The net I thought that was KRS-One sister. I've seen women that, and I watched this. This woman had gotten shot in her head, okay, and she survived. She now is paralyzed on one side of her body, and she was shot in front of her child. You understand? This was a boyfriend that did it. Now, believe it or not, another situation like that happened just today in the New York City tri-state. You know, so the reason I bring that up is not for you to feel scared or for you to feel like, every man is out to get you, because I know there are some bad men out there. But what happened with this whole Me Too thing was a lot of women started embracing the movement and they felt to completely be infused, to completely be saturated, and to completely be part of the advocacy. that they had to make themselves look like victims to fit in. And that's the problem I have. Because not only are you deducing from women that have actually been attacked, women that have actually been hurt, women that have actually been shot, women that have actually been set on fire. Guess there's a story about a woman that was set on fire by her boyfriend and lived because he thought she was cheating. Okay? There's another story of a woman who her whole foot was chopped off because the man thought in his mind, if she ain't got no feet, she can't go out. He chopped her feet off with an axe. I swear to God to you. I know it sounds sick, but it happened. You're taking away from those women's stories. With your cackling, with your scary tactics, with you trying to bash men. There's a woman that's right now on YouTube, and I don't say anything about her because I know for the pure simple fact I've been trying to get away. I listen to Star. Star says, stop arguing with these motherfuckers. Don't argue with other vloggers, stuff like that. So I've refrained from doing that. But motherfucker, you. This woman now, Kevin Samuels been dead almost a month and some change. And this woman, night after night, she's either including Kevin Samuels or either blaming Kevin Samuels or either trying to bash Kevin Samuels' followers night after night after night after night. Why? Because she don't have nothing else going on at that channel. She don't have nothing else going on. I looked at her old material. You have nothing that could offer anybody else anything except for bashing. Now, the reason I point her out is she has tons of women that come in and they're like, oh, girl, you right, girl. Yeah, girl. Fuck all these men, girl. Girl, fuck all these men, girl. Girl. So what y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna start dating each other like Wonder Woman in the Amazons? Y'all gonna make a big Amazonian utopia and you all gonna be all night long, every day long, or whatever. Is that what you're gonna do? You're gonna pull out a whip and start thrashing through the air like in your invisible jet, like Wonder Woman? Because that's where you girls are headed to. That's where you girls are headed to. You girls are also going to attribute to something else that everybody's going to start pointing out is this. See, in a society, and I've learned this when you look this up in Greek culture, and this is why they became so perverse in the end. You can look this up in Greek and Roman culture and many other cultures that subsided with it. Every culture, as long as they have a healthy sexual exchange, well, usually that civilization is more prosperous until it gets to the point that it's so it's sexual when intention of being perverse. Okay, if it's intentional with being of love and maybe a little hint of lust in it, always got to get lust in it. Okay, so you want to have a little pinch of lust in it. You'll find that the society is more calm, and with these tensions that go on with these so-called advocates of the likes of Amber Heard versus the big tail guys with whatever their advocacies are, whatever the case may be, because I'm not part of that community, even though I support some of the tenets that they say they are very right. But when you have these women that are now sitting back and they're saying there's a price on my vajay. There's a price on my vajay. Usually start about $40, but it's a price. Esto sabe, creo que sí, esto sabe, es en puta sucia. But it's usually a price, right? And that price of $40 or more is still a price. You understand? It's very different from the traditional, let me go out and see when we were blindsided by it and how we got the reactions was different. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all hit the GoFundMe. Make sure y'all hit the PayPal, Cash App, $STRINGER. All can be found in the description box. We got a goal every week now from this point on of $400 to $500 a week at minimum. So make sure you contribute to that. If you've never contributed to it, do it right now and do it so. It'll also be in the pinned comment after this. If we look at the situations that are going on sexually between the genders, you can attribute it to a lot of things. See, if a guy's out there and he knows he's still got the rectification of going to the club and getting some vajay, he's not worried about beefing with anybody. He's not worried about shooting up the streets. He's not worried about attacking somebody, robbing somebody, whatever the case may be, because he's comfortable being at home. Most men. But what you're seeing is with this argument between the genders about not only dating, but their positions in society or whatever the case may be, what you're having is you're having a conflict of the sexes. And that conflict and that comment I made earlier, are you ladies actually trying to become Wonder Woman in the Amazons? I'm asking the question because I'm asking that question because it seems like most of you women are basically adapting to the point that you either want to be asexual or homosexual. I just watched Niecy Nash have a whole. I literally just had a conversation about Niecy Nash on my homegirl Annette just a few minutes ago, not too long ago, and we was in a conversation about something else or whatever. And I remember at that point, I said, well, I brought up Niecy Nash or whatever, and now she was online actually having a conversation with this girl that literally looked like a man. And I said, this is the future of dating. Now, I don't have anything against the LBGT community whatsoever. Like, stop that. I'm not talking about them. They're going to do what they want to, and they're a small skew of the population. I think they make up something like 5% or less of the population nationally. I'm not worried about them. Now, their influence and things like that, that could be in question, that could be brought up by certain individuals within that one, not all inclusive. But the fact remains of this. I'm seeing more and more women dating each other out of necessity, and especially when it comes to women of color, both black and Latin and white. So let's throw in all three. They just popped out Rebel Wilson, and I was going to do a story about it, but I'll make it inclusive here. Rebel Wilson was put up. If y'all don't know who Rebel Wilson is, she what was that movie called? Glee. No, not Glee. What was the name of that movie? It's like Glee. It was one of those musicals. I forgot what the name of it was. It'll come to me in a minute. But there was like two parts to it, maybe three. And Rebel Wilson was a heavyset girl, whatever the case may be, and she lost weight. Okay, so she looks totally different now. English girl, I believe she is, from the UK. And she had been in a relationship with a woman for probably the past 2 or 3 years or whatever. And people put her under pressure. So she just outed out herself. You get what I'm saying? But the point remains, this is another example of women dating women. So I don't know if this whole toxic feminist thing promotes hating men, loving women. But where do y'all think this is going to go in society? Because a lot of you girls are as smart as you think you are, profess that you are. Well, I went to college at Cumberland, blah, 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 blah. We got Yale University right here in Connecticut. We're the most educated state in the United States. Look that shit up. The Bushes went to college here. Bill Clinton went to college here in Connecticut. His wife went to college here in Connecticut. Okay? And a whole bunch of subsequent other ones. Right up the block at Harvard University, Michelle and Barack Obama went. This whole corridor right here is done for education. Even when I talk about Columbia University in New York City, Pace University, I could keep going. Rutgers, down in Jersey, I could keep going. Okay? But right here, we have some of the most collegiate women. Pitch Perfect, that was the name of it. Pitch Perfect. And Bridesmaids, too. Bridesmaids was funnier than Pitch Perfect. Pitch Perfect. What it seems to realize, I'm coming to realization is that this whole toxic feminist, lying, obnoxious, narcissist behavior is turning these women into basically man haters and misandrists and lovers of other women. And I'm saying, where's that going for the population, especially when you're talking about black and Latin population? I mean, come on. White people are 62% of the population. They can afford to lose a couple. No offense, you know what I mean? But they're 62% of the population in the United States. Everybody else is this, whatever else is there. Meaning, that's a lot of reasons why, and I talk about this all the time because a lot of y'all don't understand whites as much as you think you do. There's a lot of reasons why they have the approaches that they have because they know this. They know they are 62% of the population. So what, you have a gripe? Who gives a fuck? Unless I give some empathy to it, ain't nothing going to happen. That's how I would look at it if I was a white man. It is what it is. So what I got, when you got women out here that are not only preaching bisexuality, which seems to be the obvious here, or complete just hatred of men. I don't want to put homosexuality in it, but I'm saying the hatred of men makes them go there. I think it's on the LBGT community. I think they're naturally there. So I think that's a skewed difference. You understand what I'm saying? Because I've met women that were lesbians. I have a friend or two that are lesbians, and they don't hate men. They just don't want to they're not sexually attracted to them, but I don't see them bashing men. I've even had one homegirl that come to the defense of other men because she thought she was a man. Regardless, it's a sad day, man. I don't want to drag this on too much or whatever. I just want to give you a recap. Amber Heard is being replaced. Her character, which she plays in the movie Aquaman, Mira, is being replaced by evidently a new actress. They have removed her. DC and Warner Brothers made that very and abundantly clear. So she is out of the movie. I want to know what they might possibly do, or if they leave her in the first Aquaman. Because I've seen that happen too. They remove you out of the movie, you know. So that might be something to look towards too. And the other thing is, as far as this interview, sweetheart, out of all the things, I don't know who worked for PR for you. I don't know who your agent is, but you should have limited your questioning. You should have had a sheet prepared and said, I'm not answering this, I'm not answering this, I'm not answering this. Because you just compounded the fact that you are actual freaking nut and a benign, complete, narcissistic, obnoxious, sicko individual, for the better part of any other words that can be used. Now, Johnny Depp. Johnny's coming out victorious on this. He's got another trials coming up. That one, I believe, is the same rights as some type of defamation thing. But I want to say this to a lot of movie houses before I get out of here and production companies. First and foremost, before I say that, I want to say this. Johnny Depp, you're only 50 something years old. Okay. You're still a young man. All right. I can understand how that freaking headache that you have right there. Oh my God, Amber. I can see how that freaking nut could drive a man to eat, snack, and probably do half the other things you was doing, including drinking, because I would need a whole bottle if I was around that. Plus, Johnny is a Midwest boy. He's a drinker. But I want to say this. One, I've seen that Johnny is now back out there and he's playing the guitar. He put on a performance the night that he had the concert or whatever the case may be. He's just sitting up there. Johnny was getting it, right? Well, I need to see somebody to do something for me, okay? And tell him I sent you over there. I need somebody to get Johnny in the gym. That's all he needs. He needs water and he needs the gym. Once he has water in the gym, you're going to go back to seeing the old Johnny Depp, you know? And I really, truthfully believe that. And you know, if you're going to play Captain Jack Sparrow again, you're going to have to slim down. He was a slim character. Now, the other thing, as we're speaking of that, Disney. I need y'all to hire Johnny Depp back because Johnny Depp was in the right. And I need all the other movie production houses that were dealing with him, especially Paramount Pictures. I need y'all to put him back in something. I need a new re-invitation to who Johnny Depp is here in 2022 and beyond. We got guys like Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and many other actors that are well working into their 70s, 80s, and beyond. Okay? And it shouldn't be no reason that the legacy of Johnny Depp should be skewed by this misandrous, narcissist, obnoxious piece of shit woman just to keep throwing words. Should be no reason. And if anything, what you should be doing is that same energy that y'all put into Johnny Depp, taking him out of contracts, taking him out of movies, telling him that he can't play for the 6th or 7th time the character that he's been playing for God knows how long, which was Captain Jack Sparrow. Y'all need to apply that to old toxic Amber over there. I don't want to see Amber Heard in nothing for the next 4 to 5 years. And even then, I ain't going to forget about it. Or any woman that comes to my circumference that acts or treats themselves like Amber Heard. She's a sicko. She shouldn't be somebody that's applauded. She shouldn't be someone that's defended. She shouldn't be someone that's admonished. No, we should throw her away, just like she suggested we should throw Johnny Depp away to the world. We should throw her and bash her the same way when this woman is obviously not only lying to you and me, but to the whole entire nation and internationally. And that's all I have to say. And one other word before I go. One other word before I go for the men and women. Women, I want you to stop supporting these toxic women. They don't necessarily have to be feminist, but it's these toxic women. It gives you no retribution whatsoever. And look in the mirror sometimes and say to yourself, what am I doing? And what type of person am I inside? How was I reared? How was I raised, right? That I attract men like that over and over and over and over again. Yes, it's you. Yes, don't be sorry, ho. Be careful. That's all I'm saying. Yes, it's you. A lot of times it's you. Now, I know there's certain guys out here that'll dupe you over, certain guys out here that will, they'll pull a fast one on you. I get it. I get it. I get it. But ladies, I'm going to give you a little bit of advice before I roll up out of here so you don't have any future problems like this. And you can say to yourself, don't be sorry, ho. Be careful. Be careful. Which is this. One, ladies, you've got to stop dating men that got the pants hanging off the ass. Okay? We don't sag anymore in 2022. That's for one. A lot of you women are looking at the same template of man. You too in that. A lot of you women are looking at the same template of man that you were looking at and dating when you were 16 years old. And now you're 25, 30, 35, and 40 years old. And you still dating the same template of man that you were dating when you were 16 years old. Same thing goes for you guys as well. A lot of you are dating the same type of woman that you were dating when you were 16, 15, 17 years old, and now as an adult, you're trying to date the same type of woman because there's something in there that's innately familiar to you. And the innate thing that's familiar to you is destruction. Destruction. You like to argue. You like being in dangerous environments. The relationship is not fun unless y'all arguing or fighting. Yeah, there's women out there like that. He don't love me unless he argue with me. Bitch, you crazy. You're crazy. You think I don't love you unless I argue with you? That is somebody that comes from despair. That is someone that comes from a household that was always conditioned to have problems. That's how that woman was raised. Or she was raised by a woman that woman somehow or another was so cantankerous and so nasty, and year after year after year after year after year after year, she just bashed men and bashed men and bashed men in front of her daughter and did it unconsciously. And now that that daughter is grown, this is who she is. A man hater, a misandrist. Or the women that are raising the boys, because for some reason or another, how smart a lot of you girls are out there that say you got degrees and everything else like that, right? You can't figure out this equation. If 61% of Latin women, 72% of black women, and I believe it's 40% of white women, 43 to be specific, are raising kids by themselves in this nation, that means even if you date interracially, 9 times out of 10, you are dating a woman from a broken household who has come from a woman that somehow or another through her pains and strife, and we want to commend her pains and strife because, like I said, I don't select women to bash. I select women to bring up highlights. And I respect women that were out here and raised their kids by themselves or whatever the case may be. But it falls back again, ladies, to the men that y'all are choosing. Not every guy out here is gang banging. Not every guy out here is freaking running the streets or whatever the case may be. That it's not. And I know tons of them that don't. I have more than enough friends that don't have kids to this day. You know what I mean? So, women, what I want you to do is you got to start rearranging who you're attracted to. You understand? Now, you say you're attracted to a 6-figure man. Every man ain't making 6 figures. Maybe you don't deserve a man to make 6 figures. Have you ever thought of it like that? Maybe you don't have the attributes to attract a man that makes 6 figures. And how do I say that? Well, I worked for multimillionaires for 17 years, so I'm not making a guest station. And I saw all the girls they had around and we had around, and I can tell you, they didn't look like a lot of you that's sitting there. I deserve a man that makes 6 figures. You make 6 figures, and so do everybody at your job, probably, right? So there's somebody at your job that might be attracted to you. You're in person, y'all know each other, you might see each other, whatever. What I see is a lot of times these girls will be in these 6-figure jobs or whatever, and they'll go get them a hood booger. They go get them a hood booger. They'll go lay down with that hood booger. They'll have a baby by that hood booger. And then when that hood booger goes to jail for selling drugs or whatever, or trapping out a house and gets her kicked out, whatever the case may be, then they want to cry to the world. Oh my God, I was taken advantage of, and I can't believe this, and he used me, da 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 da. Your mama went through the same shit. You ain't learned nothing from her? Huh? You ain't learned nothing from your mama? You ain't learned nothing from auntie? You ain't learned nothing from your girlfriend? You saw all this shit happening right around you. And more importantly, just like you were raised by a single mama, your mother was cantankerous and nasty or whatever the case may be. That little boy that you dating right now, he also was raised by a single mother, whether he was black, white, or Latino. There's a skewed number for each one of those demographics at the CDC. You take the time, go look at it. Okay, there's a lot of people like to put in contention as this women of color, though it's white women too, and it's rising very rapidly. If you even take it back 10 years ago, I think white women were somewhere around 30-something% for single parent households. It has significantly rose to 43%, and they have another ailment that's on top of that, whereas white women are not having children or waiting later in life to have children. So that's affecting their population too. But like I said, they got the numbers to waste. They're 62% of the population. You see? So they got the numbers to waste. You don't. You don't. Ladies and men, I say this about the men too. Men, I want you to watch the women that you date and the women that you choose to procreate with or pump and dump and walk off like everything is all right. Let me talk to y'all for a minute. A lot of you guys go out here and you meet these poor girls, and a lot of y'all take advantage of them. I've been a guy that's been a proprietor of this before. I've taken advantage of a chick sexually once or twice. I'm not talking about took the draws. I'm talking about like, you know, hey, what you doing? How you doing? All right, what's going on? Let's do this and woo, 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 woo. You know, like, I've done that before. You know what I mean? And I know quite other men that have done it too. And honestly and truthfully, we're only doing what a woman responds to. You understand what I'm saying? Sexually, when that's the intention. So we're only doing what responds. And a lot of times when what these women put out there, I need money. I need a new Birkin bag. I need this. I need that. Okay, sure, whatever. Whatever gets me the underwear. You know, that's how most men think. You know, not all men, but most men. But then you have this other margin of men, right? That were raised under the same premise I'm talking about, just raised with a cantankerous, nasty woman. And this woman has spilled all kinds of stuff about them. On top of talking about the father, she is also talking down about other women of color. I've seen this before, and I know y'all think it sounds crazy or whatever, but I've seen women say, "You better not date that nappy head chick, or she too dark, or she too light, or she dressed funny, or she too short, or she too this, or she too that." Y'all ain't never heard any of your aunts and them say anything like that. She got bad hair. She da. She ain't that cute. Blah blah blah. That's the one that a lot of these passive aggressive girls like to use nowadays, especially if they unattractive. You gotta look at when you hear an unattractive chick say to a woman that's obviously pretty, she ain't that cute. That's because that bitch is ugly and she knows she's ugly. You know what I'm saying? So she's putting out her energy to everybody else because she's ugly. And the same thing goes with ugly men too. I think ugly men are worse than ugly women. Ugly women will at least try to act cute and be nice. Ugly men, they just walk around all day long mad. You understand what I'm saying? Even when they happy, they mad. I don't hang around with ugly men and I don't hang around with short men. I never hang out with ugly dudes. I never hang out with short dudes. It's always going to be a problem. The short dude, he always feels like he's got to prove something to somebody. I can't stand short men. I say it all the time. I've said it a million times here. I don't know how it works out for y'all. I don't even keep short friends because I know once we go out somewhere, we go hanging out somewhere, something like that, it's going to be a problem. Oh, she too dark, not light enough for you. I've heard that. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, that type of stuff. So Annette know what I'm talking about, and many of you other ladies know what I'm talking about too. And I've seen the opposite on the light skin side. Oh, she too light skinned. You know what I mean? She look like she damn near white. That's another thing that a lot of brown girls like to do against light skinned girls or whatever. It goes on since childhood. My younger sister is lighter complected, and she's had that problem before. And she's got long, straight, pretty ass hair since she always had long ass hair since she was a little girl. You know what I mean? We got good genes. You know what I'm saying? But the point I'm getting at is here these tenets and these things that were brought up for women are almost introduced to them by other women almost every time. And the same tenets are also introduced to the boys. So when they go to start trying to date each other now at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, they have the problems and the mental capacity is not there enough that they're almost confused about what they're doing. So it's almost like one traumatic person dating another traumatic person. And then you got a real big clusterfuck. Guys, my name is Dab Lewis. I hope that what I said is somewhat helpful, especially to the boys or whatever, and the girls as well, whatever. And you guys have got to stop embracing people that are definitely wrong, like Amber Heard. You've got to stop having this prerequisite that just because it's a male figure that he's wrong, because like many of y'all did with Johnny Depp, and later on he proved to the world that he wasn't. And it goes in coincidence with this. How many other Amber Heards are out there? How many other men have been convicted of situations that had to do with someone that was like Amber Heard? How many men have a felony or a record because of women like Amber Heard? You understand that they didn't have the money for the lawyer. They didn't have the time of the defense to present everything that was available to them. How many other people have been victims of women just like Amber Heard? And ladies, I want to say this to you. If you continue on with this behavior of man bashing and hating men or whatever, and most of y'all that I see that are doing it are some of the most unattractive, excuse my French for the better part, the most unattractive bitches I've ever seen in my life. There's some of y'all that won't even get up on the camera because you're so ugly. And you know you're ugly. All right. There's nothing wrong with being ugly. I ain't got nothing wrong with ugly people. What I got a problem is an ugly person that has an ugly personality. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if you're an ugly person or whatever, I can be friends with you, cool out with you, hang with you, and you exactly in my life because I'm not a malicious person like that. But, and this goes for ugly men too, okay? Ugly men too. It is not our fault that you're ugly, right? It's not my fault that you're fat. It is not my fault that you're short. It is not my fault that you didn't graduate high school. It is not my fault that you didn't have the same opportunities I had in life or whatever, or didn't take the initiative to garner those opportunities. It is not my fault that I could sit here on YouTube and talk the way I talk and you can't find the gumption or the energy to do it and be consistent with it. So we all got faults, we all got shortcomings or whatever the case may be. I've got my own as well. But what you don't have the right to do is to go around and dictate that type of attitude to people and force it upon people and say, you know what? I don't like the way he is. I don't like the fact that he's good looking. I don't like the fact that he could get other women because I think that was a problem with Amber Heard too. She knew Johnny Depp had his bevy of any woman that he wanted. It's Johnny Depp. We're not talking about actors such and such. We're talking about Johnny fucking Depp. All right, Edward Scissorhands, fucking Jack Sparrow, you name it. All right, that's who we're talking about. We're not talking about some cookie cutter actor. All right, that just came from about. No, we're talking about a legend actor, a legendary actor with the ranks of Tom Cruise, Will Smith, and many others I can mention. We're talking about a legend actor at this point. And for this woman and for these movie production houses to take the position they did, it should be something it shouldn't be overlooked. It should be investigated more. And I want to say to all you vloggers that sit around, especially the gossip vloggers, I think you need to take the initiative right now and start breaking this down. Especially Fresh and Fit, y'all got an assignment. Fresh and Fit, y'all have an assignment. Fresh and Fit, you have an assignment. Mr. Let Go, you got an assignment. Mr. Let Go, you got an assignment. And many others of you that are out there, y'all got an assignment. Corey Holcomb, you got an assignment. And I hope it assists there. Guys, before I get up off here, like I always told you before, make sure you go into the description box. Make sure you hit up the Cash App. Make sure you hit up the PayPal or hit up the GoFundMe. I offer those two latter options because a lot of people say they didn't have Cash App and that I have a different option for them. So there it is. You can use your card. You don't have to sign up for either or, but with Cash App, you either have it priorly existed or you can set up your own account if you choose to do so. There's some incentives if you do. Guys, we have a weekly goal here of $400 to $500, so we're going to do that. I've been on here vlogging for a very long time, and yes, I'm about my money, and I want to continue to do this, and I am not partnered with Google at the moment to the extent of where I should, and we're going to try to take care of that too. But for right now, make sure you contribute to that or whatever, and donate to that if you'd like the material or to keep the show going here and keep it flowing. All right, I will talk to you guys later, and I may or may not be back tonight live, but you can guarantee you I'll be back tomorrow, and every time that you come to this channel, please be prepared to always have at least at the minimum 3 to 4 uploads a day. And guys, if you're just now tuning in, please go back, replay this, and more importantly, hit that like button and share this. And one other thing, to all my subscribers, which I've gained 984 subscribers within the past 24 hours, which is crazy. I want to say thank you and welcome to y'all being here. We do a lot of crazy things here, have a lot of crazy conversations. I smoke on camera. Sometimes I curse a lot sometimes or whatever, but sometimes I have to do that to push out the thought of what I'm saying or whatever. So like I said, welcome here to the channel, but please keep this in mind. I'm about my money, always have been, always will be. So please make sure you hit up the Cash App, PayPal, or GoFundMe in the description link, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you.